Hi guys. So today I'm just coming on impromptu. Um, just wrapped up my class and I'm kind of sitting here thinking about all the questions I get asked. And one of the most common questions I get asked is, how do I love myself? And what's interesting about this question is I'm always confused by the question itself, you know? And I'll give you a little background on myself. The reason it's confusing to me um, is because my mother raised me a certain way from the time I was at 4 years old until I left home. She drummed the same type of sayings, beings, way of being, um, ways of describing boundaries, ways of just her way of being, right? And what's interesting about how she raised me is that she gave me her secret sauce. You know, that what is that thing? You know, that drives men or women crazy. What is that thing? You know, and that's pretty much a lot of the things that my mom passed on. So that's part of my background, okay? However, here's the other part of my background. I've spent a lot of time doing spiritual research. I have invested all of my time learning this. When I say I had a corporate job and I would do my corporate job, and on my spare time, I read thousands upon thousands upon thousands of books. I don't know what was compelling me. I don't know what the force was. I don't know, but I will tell you one thing. What has occurred as a result of it is I've seen through the design. So I want to answer, how do you love yourself in a slightly different way? Okay, I'll start with the most obvious things. If anything your experience should have taught you, especially if you did not know how to love yourself, because that's a very difficult thing to learn the hard way, is that your experience should teach you, first and foremost, the order of operations. Okay, I've said this several times, but I don't think I'm clear. I can't be any clearer on this, right? So the order of operations, I'm going to answer it that way. First and foremost, you first. You, because even though everything is an illusion, nothing outside that you see with your eyes exists without your awareness of it. It's as if everything exists in a static, empty state until what you believe to be real is turned on from inside your skull, and that is what you're seeing outside. Okay? So you are the source, and you cannot give from an empty cup. You first. So what do I mean by you first? I mean, decide what your boundaries are. Decide what's acceptable. And know what these things are, and please do not back down. Do not back down. Have very set and clear boundaries and keep them, okay? You will know why you made them. For example, I will give you certain examples of my boundaries, okay? I don't like insecurities. I don't like jealousies. That's the very first thing I will turn down. I will shut off. I cannot hear what you're saying. Nope, that's a boundary. That's a boundary, okay? Other boundaries include the obvious. No abuse, physical, emotional, or mental, okay? No cheating. There's just certain things that I just do not find acceptable for me in terms of my relationship with me. Now, the reason I'm giving you guys examples is my list does not have to be your list, okay? You know what is acceptable to you, okay? But I do have certain triggers, and those are those triggers. Like, there's absolutely no abuse. Why? Because when I used to have a life as my grandmother, I was abused physically in my second marriage, and I was nearly killed. And I was abused badly. Those memories, although I did not live my grandmother's life, have been embedded in my DNA. And whenever I think, hear, or feel abuse, I turn into a different monster. Okay? So the boundary is for their protection, not mine. Okay? It just is what it is. All right. So I had this boundary, but see how it's formed from my experience? These are how your experiences and your boundaries are formed. You guys decide what that is. But in every case, whatever you have tolerated, okay, is what you've decided your boundaries are. Okay? So that's obvious. First and foremost, you first decide what you want, decide what your boundaries are, stick to them. I don't care how beautiful, how gorgeous he or she is, you do not make exceptions on these boundaries. Okay? Because what it shows is you have respect for yourself. You are not easily accessible. You do not tolerate any kind of nonsense. And that is a desirable thing. Okay? As an example, let's say you have two restaurants, okay? And one may be fancy as hell and beautiful and everything inside, but you go to make your reservation and they can take you any point in time. They have any opening whatsoever. Whenever you're available, just put me down. It's no need for a reservation. Then you have the other restaurant, and the other restaurant is booked solid. And when you go there, they say, it might be like a 45-minute wait. It's solidly booked. In other words, for you to get in there is a treat. It is something that you are after. Okay? This is a big deal. Which restaurant do you want to go to? Which one do you think appeals more? I know that the crowds specifically aren't going to appeal, okay? But I'm saying, where do you think the food tastes better? Okay? So this is why you must have your boundaries. You must decide how accessible you are. You must remember you are the prize. And you must at all times, and you can be male or female, it doesn't matter. You should know what you want in a partner, and what those boundaries are. That's the most basic of basic things you should have going on for yourself. Okay? Next, I want you to understand the second half of the equation. So the order of operations is you first, then the second half is treat the other person as if it is you. Now, I cannot begin to explain how crucial this part of the equation is, okay? The reason this is because if you understand the design, you understand that no body, not one single body that you see with your specific beautiful eyes, okay, exists outside of your skull. Now, I realize that that's kind of confusing because you see actual people and you see solid holographic things and they look like many different things and they don't look like just one person. I get it, but let me be clear. Let me be real crystal clear. God cannot be divided. There is nothing else. There's you, okay, and your multi-dimensional view in time using the only thing that has ever been placed in front of you is a mirror we call space and time. We created this in our skull, and we use this to measure what we're seeing, but everything in our world consists of our experienced state of being in various patterns in such a way that all bodies are technically illusions of you. You. So if you don't know how you want to be treated, you're going to know even less how to treat somebody. And so that's where the lessons come in relationship. That's the whole purpose of this existence, of everything is you and going into this creational period to meet yourself. You are here to master your relationship with yourself. Okay? So those other bodies represent you. Now you guys will say, well, if everybody's me, what makes that person special? So I will tell you what makes that person distinguish one person from the other, because all bodies are illusions and they're all illusions of you. What is happening is your heart is registering the potential of that union, of what you can learn when you meet you in very specific circumstances. Meaning, if you have certain things in your life that you have not cleared out or whatever, this person will mirror this for you so you can grow as a couple and as an individual. Even if you don't stay with your couple, you will have grown. For example, in my last relationship, my job was to heal a wound that I didn't realize. I thought I had resolved it, which has to do with my father's energy. And so the person in my life helped me heal that. Okay? I know that thanks to my life, the next energy that I have to heal will be my mother's energy. And that's not an easy thing because I'm dealing with, again, myself reflected back at me, my experiences making an illusion of another body. Okay? You still want to treat this person with respect, with kindness, okay? You don't want to accuse them of stuff. You don't want to treat them badly. You don't want to put them down. None of these things are loving, okay? So you have to be sure to remember to treat people as you want to be treated, okay? Now, when you put step 1 and step 2 together, okay, this creates a bond that cannot be broken. Why? Because your love plus your love equals all love. Why? Because you cannot be divided. You are already God. You are already your partner. Your job is to see through the veil. You as individual couples are just as important as my relationship with the universe. In other words, your individual romantic relationships, your individual family relationships, although they're all illusions of you, and although it's the same soul looking at itself from different angles, all of these experiences are just as important as the one you have with perfect strangers outside in the world. I know you don't think that, but everything is you. Everything is you. So when it comes to how do I love myself, those 3 components are the most important. They're the most important, but only you can answer that question. What is acceptable to you? What is your ideal? Now, if you don't have positive experiences, this might be a difficult list to create. But I tell you what, if it is, and I will tell you how your desire will help you in this particular case. If you don't have any positive examples in your life, what desire does that give birth to? It gives birth to the desire of you wanting absolutely the positively most opposite thing of what you've known as a child. Okay? That desire is God's will. That's your will, and that's what you're standing in the middle of. Okay? Between the contrast of what you don't know that you already have and your illusion here, okay? And your desire, which is the kingdom of heaven on the other side of the veil, where everything exists within you, but you have to call it forth from within you to experience it outside of you, okay? That gives birth to your desires. Either way, what are you doing? Following God's will. Whether you have good experiences or bad, okay? Now, it's really, really important to get specific. If you have a specific guy in mind, great. Great. A specific girl in mind, great. You know? But if you don't, be clear, because that's who you are going to meet. but enforce your boundaries. Earlier today, one of my favorite guys, Derek Jackson, okay? I love him because he speaks about relationships the same exact way I would. I can't help it. I'm a dude in the inside. I cannot help this, okay? But the one thing he was saying earlier today was somebody's, I don't know because I don't follow famous people, but it was somebody's ex-wife, and she was saying something that I would never say, all right? She said, you don't want to go for high-profile men because when you go for these high-profile men that, you know, that are super wealthy or uber famous or whatever, you're just another option. And that there's lots of other women and that you have to tolerate that, which I guess was what she was trying to say about her divorce. Here's my answer to that, okay? When you love yourself, that's a hard boundary. You don't even get involved in that relationship. If that person isn't mature enough to invest in you and he's got the shopping mentality going on, that's perfectly fine. He can keep his shopping mentality. Just let him shop around for whatever else is out there. But you, yourself, need to know that you are the prize. You are the investment. You are the forever one, the keeper, the best friend, the this, the that, okay? So you do want to be mindful of the type of people you are trying to attract. Be mindful of that. But again, I wouldn't be the one getting divorced. I wouldn't have even gotten involved if I met someone like that, you know, just not gonna happen. I'm either it, walking papers, my boundary, okay? I'm not easily accessible. I do not give it away to everybody and their mother. This is not a judgment call. I'm just saying, I'm not the easy to get to restaurant. Okay? And when you know that, what will your reflection do? They will treat you as if you're special. Because you know you're special. The answer to how to love yourself is to understand first who you are, second, what your boundaries are, third, what you want in a relationship, and fourth, to stick to it and make no compromises. Make no compromises. Okay? Not when it comes to those boundaries, because the boundaries I'm talking about are the ones that are helpful for you. Okay? For example, like I said, I personally, the biggest red flag for me is abusive, narcissistic, or abusive, verbal, no, it's gotta go. That's my personal boundary. Like I said, I don't know what those things are for you, but knowing that is key. Okay? You have to understand, it's a courtship. Okay? It's a courtship. I don't care if you're a male after a female, it's a courtship, right? You are after a courtship, okay? The ones that don't give a chase, they're just like everybody else out there. So how are you going to stand out? You're going to understand you're the prize. You have to understand that. You are so, so special. I mean this sincerely, because your individual relationships open the door to your enlightenment. When you open the enlightenment in yourself, you open it in the entire world. You enter a new paradigm. So it is important to give you and your universe a leg up. Here's the other part. Be kind to yourself in your words. Please. Be kind to yourself in your words. If you're not if you're not kind to yourself, for example, oh, you're constantly saying, I just feel so fat, or I I'm the type that everybody cheats on, or I'm this, that, and the third, or whatever. I don't care what your story is. Okay, these are stories that you put on, okay? These things are known as archetypes. There are symbols that are used that we have been placing for billions of years into our subconscious, and then we put them on like you put on clothes, okay? Now, you can tell the sob story of the victim as long as you want to tell it. You will know you're facing the wrong way when you're arguing for your limitations, explaining all the reasons why you can't have something, and blah 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 blah. You're stuck in that story, right? You will know that. You will know the difference, okay? The opposite of that, when you know and value who you are, and you have complete and total respect, and you enforce those boundaries, people will want to be with you. The love of your life will chase you. Okay? All right. Last tip. Last tip I'm going to give you guys. My favorite. All right? Last tip is this. If you know everything is you, everything is you, are you going to act as if this person, you can lose this person? Are you going to keep harping on the distance, the space, the whatever, or your last conversation, or your this, that, and the third? Are you going to keep harping on that? Or do you know that this is your reflection? Do you know? You guys have seen the meme with the dancing couple, and it says the relationship I think I'm in, and then in the mirror, it just shows the woman all by herself, right? If you know that everything is you, you cannot lose this person, then your language, your speech, your body language, your fears will be non-existent. They should not even come up. You should be spending time doing things like knowing this is you and enjoying watching yourself with detachment. Okay? Now, what do I mean by detachment? That sounds kind of like, well, Cindy, that sounds almost cold or frigid, you know? So I'm going to explain what I mean by detachment. All right. Best example ever. You want a cup of coffee. You want to manifest a free cup of coffee. This is the easiest manifestation trick in the book, right? I'm going to manifest something tiny in order to have something bigger. So I'm going to start with the faith building exercise. Okay, so I'm going to manifest this free cup of coffee. Yay, okay? Notice how detached you are from the free coffee. Why? Why are you detached? Because you don't perceive it to be difficult? Because you can buy your own cup of coffee whether it manifests or not. That's the key answer I'm looking for. You can manifest your own cup of coffee whether it arrives or not. Yes? Okay. When it comes to an SP, if you don't treat your SP like that cup of coffee, you are going to be waiting a long time. Okay? Because who is not trusting in the number one law? You are the creator of your own reality. And who is unconsciously getting lost in the idea of separation instead of acknowledging the oneness, instead of being love. When you are not being love, you cannot receive love. Because what does your reflection do out of love? If in love is love reflected, and that other being is God pretending not to be you, so should be cared for with the same kind of reverence you give yourself. If you have not recognized that it is you, then you will treat that person as if you can lose it. But if you have bridged this gap, this complete and total understanding, because Who can make their own reality at will? You. Just like you can get that free cup of coffee, I need you to treat your SPs with that kind of detachment, with the, oh yeah, I know the law, so of course I will get this. Or the, I can order the cup of coffee, but if it comes to me, I'm just as detached because it's not a big deal. It's a little cup of coffee. Well, when you understand everything is you, then it's not a big deal. It's just a cup of coffee. Peace comes from oneness. And if you are not at least trying to bridge that gap within yourself, then you will spend a lot of time without your lover. Because your lover is made inside of you. It's your counterpart energy. It does not exist outside. Your word animates the carcass you are seeing. And by carcass, I mean this carcass, and I mean every other body outside. It is a carcass. You animate the entire universe. The whole thing. The whole thing. Whatever you see with your eyes, you are animating with your state of being. So there's a few things that you need to be really mindful of. First, your state of being. Second, your story. And third, how kind you are to yourself and how kind you are to everything inside of you that you're seeing outside. Number one thing to remember, when you call something evil outside of you, and I don't care if it looks like it was there before you. I don't care about that. If you call something evil outside of you, understand that first you had to become that evil in your word, and then that evil had to show up and play its role for you. It's not a judgment. It's not a morality call. It is what it is. You must see yourself. In love is love reflected. So what does God show you? What you chose to be in the moment. So you be mindful of those words, you be mindful of those stories, and you spend time bridging the gap. How do you do that, Cindy? How do you bridge the gap? Well, hello, my darlings. Your body is the remote control. Your body is the eternal vessel from which all timelines, everything that has already occurred, everything that will ever occur is inside this skull. You can recall it at will, but you must bridge the gap within yourself. Do you have to do it all the time? No. But maybe 15 minutes consistently, within 21 days, you should have your SP. Or less. If you were consistent, okay, with bridging the gap in yourself and using yourself as the remote control, and the rest of the time, what are you doing? You're detaching from your reality and you're treating it like the cup of coffee you can get. That detachment is so important because it's the only thing that makes things instant. Instant. I mean, instant. And when you get really good at this, you will notice that you can walk into any place, you can go into any situation, and whatever you say will be instant. That's called the kingdom of now. And when you become aware of that, it is incredible. But the truth is, and I want this to get clear as it's going to get, every single human being on earth represents your body. What you see with your eyes cannot exist without you. You are its source. And to love yourself requires a level of kindness that should be administered to that reflection, not just yourself, but to that being. that is helping you discover who you are, that reflects back who you are, that reflects all your thoughts, your fears, the things you've got to work on. That person who wakes you up and gives you the key to life is everything. Because it's you. It's you. There's nobody else. See, the funny thing about all of this stuff, you know, and people spend all this time like doing what, affirmations for like hours and stuff like that. You're the only one you gotta convince. So you can do it, but understand this. By default, the fact that you have to affirm 20 billion times means what? You don't believe what you're saying. So what will you see first? What you don't want. Why? Because that's what you believe to be real, or you wouldn't be affirming its opposite. Okay? So the affirmations are fine. Just understand you're working harder than you need to. Working harder than you need to. You're swimming all the way around the lake. All the way. When all you had to do was turn around and face yourself. Face yourself. So if you're going to use affirmations, use powerful ones. Please don't spend hours doing that. Because that just means you already are not living from your state. You're not, the funniest thing happens, and you guys do this all the time. There's nothing magical about manifestation. You are doing this unconsciously day in and day out. It is so easy. The problem is until you become aware of what you're saying inside of yourself, you don't understand how you are animating what you see outside. Okay? So I hope that answers how to love yourself in a way broader spectrum, because the self requires a certain level of understanding. The self that you are is more than just this body. It's all of your experiences, all of them. Everything that you've ever been through, all of your genetic history, every single little detail that makes you, okay? And then what you see outside, so your whole reflection, what you see outside is infinite patterns of your experience made to look as if you are dealing with other people. But the bottom line is that huge self is you. And if you are not kind to that, you will experience the backlash we call karma. And that backlash will manifest in your relationship back and forth, if you're in one, or will surprise you on the back end when you're on the receiving end of the things you wish you weren't feeling, hearing, or saying. It never fails. It's even worse for me, because I get instant. I said something mean. I'll get it on the back end. Okay? It's up to me to finish perpetuating the cycle and understand the way that I respond is an act of love. The way that I treat everything is an act of love. What I say and what I believe is an act of love. And if you are not conditioning your mind to do this on a regular basis, then the only evil war and problem you have is you. Because you're not loving yourself. You're not. You're not loving your whole self. And you're so much more than this body. But when you can do that, when you can treat this person as if it's you, when you can act as if you can't lose yourself, it'll never be a big deal. Your person will be instant. And I say this because often I hear the most common theme is the one I've got going on right now. Most of my clients have their SPs in different countries, different states, different cities, you know, all kinds of things. That's what's happened to be surrounded with right now. Okay? So understand this. The cities, the states, and everything that you've said, these are all created by you. The space, time, the story, all you. It is one seamless thing, one whole thing. Your thoughts are not separate. It's not you and then the universe. It's only one whole thing. And when you treat these things this way, you totally see it differently. But if you don't, then what are you doing on the back end? Having issues, right? Bridge the space and time gap within yourself. I highly recommend having an inner sanctuary and going into that space. It's what I just went over with my class. The importance of that is huge, because the more time you spend with the possibilities and feeling good, okay, then that's what you will see and that's what you will attract. Okay? But how to love yourself is an interesting topic for me, because the most obvious things should be the things I said at the beginning. The rest is what I've learned, what I've contributed to my mother's teachings, is understanding that I am the rest of the picture. You are too, because I said I am. I am means universally everyone is that. Okay? When you understand that, you get off the karmic wheel. Everyone treats you as you treat them. Everything in the universe is a confession of your character and your character alone. There's nothing else. You get out in the world what you put in your thought, speech, and deed. And if those words are not loving, then the world you see will not be loving. You have that much power. So when I'm asking you to love yourself, I'm asking you to love the whole kit and caboodle, the whole universe you are, yeah? The whole universe. But start with you, and then treat the rest of the reflection. When that is in balance, I promise you, you will collapse the space and time. But the states, the distance, the cities, the countries, the mileage apart from each other, all of that can only be collapsed if you spend time inside yourself, recapturing the feeling and convincing your blind father of what is real within you, so that you can enter the dream. Today I had the coolest situation, okay? Someone in our class had a situation where she said her mother was on her way to the hospital, and she said, I've decided that I am on my way to pick her up and take her home. It's nothing serious. She didn't know what it was, but she quickly within her body made that decision. And she gets in her car. What is what I just said? Faith, intention, faith, action. She got in her car. As soon as she got there, they told her she could take her mother home. So what did she do in that second? You see, it's very subtle. She entered the dream. You guys are creating things like this left and right all the time. Become aware of how and what you're saying, what you're doing. Align those things, and you will enter any freaking dream you want. That's what please seek the kingdom of God first means. That's what it means. Because when you stop seeking out there for what's in here, you'll never look for anything again, I swear to God. Because you'll know how to make anything out of thin air. And when I say anything, I mean anything. The how isn't up to you. That's the best part of this partnership with God. But you guys have to know, faith plus works. Faith plus works. Be the Michael Jordans of the world. Please. Please. You want to enter your own state? Be the Michael Jordan of the world. Do you know what that is? Michael Jordan had a coach that used to make him meditate and used to make him play his game in his head. He had to play his game in his head first. So what did he do? He did what I said to do in my class. Go inside your inner sanctuary and play. Okay? So he played like a dream. All right? Then what does Michael Jordan do? Then he picks up that ball, he physically goes and plays the game. Who plays like a dream? Who is famous for the way that he plays? Who entered the dream? Faith plus works is not dead. Be the Michael Jordans. Everything is made within you, not out there. I don't want to hear, wah, 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 wah. I still don't have my desire. You still don't have it because where are you looking? Out there? No, my babies. You make it here first. Inside of you first. You make it real, so freaking real. It's as real as it's ever going to get. You make it here first, in here. You actively participate in that creation. You light up every neural pathway you got. See, half of you, I can tell you don't meditate because if you did, you would never ask the questions that you ask me. But you enter in here first and you turn on that activity of that brain until you see it out there. Then you will understand the kingdom. Because it's made in here first, and then I go get it out there. What I just said is the equivalent of the golden goose. You have a golden goose that lays some golden eggs, if you understand what I'm saying. They're made, whatever you desire is made inside of your skull first. You make it as real as it's going to get. You follow the biblical story. Fool your blind father into thinking he's your brother. Follow that story, because you are that blind father, all right? And then you receive your inheritance, or in this case, you entered the dream, or in this case, you become the Michael Jordan, or you play like a dream. There is no excuse for lack of success. There's no excuse for lack of money. There's no excuse for lack of SPs. There's no excuse for being sick. There's no excuse for illness of any kind. All things are resolved inside of you. And if you are not spending time with yourself, getting to know the only being that can deliver you from anything in an instant, then that would explain why you lack anything. I love God that much. I put my hands on the fire. I don't care if someone shoots me tomorrow. I know where I'm going. I don't care. I have no attachment to this world. Zero. Okay? But what I can do is teach you guys the right direction so that you too can own your universe and have zero attachment and still get to enjoy the beauty of knowing you can make anything in the world real to you and go experience it. Therefore, you lack nothing. So if you're going to make your SP, spend time with that person inside your mind. Be unfiltered. Be you. Do not compromise. Spend time doing it. 15 minutes a day for 21 days is enough. Is enough. It'll probably happen sooner. I don't need 21 days. I don't need 21 days. If I had someone in another country and I want that person to come, okay, I'm going to imagine that the borders just opened up and boof, I'm going to get permission for that to be done. No problem. I got my person. There are no problems out there. None. Zero. Zilch. Outside of you is a blank canvas called the screen of time and space, from which you throw your story from within your head that animates all the characters on there. But it's a screen. It's a screen, it's make-believe, but it's fun because you get to play in this 3D holographic game called life, and the quality of that said life is dependent only on you. And that's how you discover who you truly are. When you've discovered that, you tend to have a lot of love and appreciation for that being. So if you don't have that yet, please foster that. I hope this answers the question, because I'm answering it in a totally different way now, right? I'm saying, love your whole universe. Remember the order of operations. I've never not said that. And collapse the time and space within you. Because your SPs, your riches, your wealth, your success, the project you want to land, all the things you think you don't know, are all found in here. The smart person creates their success inside of themselves and then walks into the office and closes deals like a boss. Makes it look effortless. They still show up, they still participate, but what did they do? They created their success inside of them. So there's no crapshoot here. You decide. There's never, I don't know what he's thinking. No, you know what? I teach telepathy. You do know. You do know. Because it's your story. I don't know what's going to happen next. Did you just learn Neville and actually think to say that? Huh? Think, you guys. Think. Your stories are made here first, and then you go into the dream. But if you do not apply this, you will never discover this is real. And so what happens? Your desires become bigger than you, and you're going after things that aren't even out there. Your 3D is your confirmation loop for your inner state. So your inner state better be where your head's at. Because that's determining what you see out there. And how you're treated, and how desirable you are, and everything else. You're it, you guys. And I need you to know this. You're enough. You're enough as you are. Please do not question that. Love is as love is reflected. You can only be love because only love exists. So there's no way you should be questioning your worthiness or any of those other silly, crazy notions. And you can stop asking why of why. Why of causation. When you get to your experiences and you don't like what's happened, and you spend a lot of, why me? Why me? Why me? That's an unconscious person, babe. Because you are first cause, therefore you're asking why of why. When you're the only person that can ever answer that question, because you are the creator of every single experience you've ever had. So you can why me all you want. Yeah, you could. Why me? Why me? Why me? But who are you expecting to answer? It's you. You've got to answer that. Okay? So I took it a little deeper with self-love, you guys. I hope I hope this sits with you. I hope think about what I'm saying, okay? I love you. I didn't mean to spend so long on the topic, but I hope it helps. I hope you guys have a great evening. I'll try and do more lives. I'm not teaching my class, so I'm not working on that curriculum right now. So I'll do more lives and we can do more topics. If there are any questions or things that you guys want to ask, you know, I can't read the topics right now. I'll try to address the questions or make other lives for other questions you know, just feel free to ask Cindy. All right. Love you guys.